G'day team, Punt Road back with another vid. Today we'll be talking about none other than Megadeth, one of my favourite topics, and their song These Boots. A much maligned cover. If you go onto the internet, people will tell you they don't like it. I'm a bit of a fan of it actually, but it all started somewhere, and that was with the OG, Nancy Sinatra. Here is a reel-to-reel, which was given to me by my father. Of that, inside is the reel-to-reel tape. As you can see, it's These Boots and a bunch of other tracks that are on there. There you go. There's a bit more information out of them. I have quite a fair bit of my father's reel-to-reels, which I'll hopefully share on this channel at some point. But These Boots, it was a paraphrase from something that Nancy's father, Frank, had said, a line in a movie. They took that, they formed it into These Boots, and that was the inspiration for it. It was a pretty big hit back in 1965, and it definitely inspired a whole bunch of different versions, including the Megadeth one covering a bunch of different styles as well. So I'll just quickly go into some of those. So popping Nancy back down there, we had Billy Ray Cyrus in 1992. He had a version of it. Now, he was obviously a nemesis of Dave's, kept him off the #1 spot from Countdown to Extinction. There was also Ashley Simpson's version in 2005, if you remember her. She's, if you can find her, she's struggling a bit from the Ozempic, wasting away now. But back then, she looked pretty good in her Daisy Dukes, even if the song wasn't probably to my liking, although maybe people listening to this love Ashley Simpson more than Megadeth. Doubt it very much, but who knows. The next one was Megadeth. Oh, hang on. That's because that is in that cover is signed in my Megadeth collection in a framed piece that my wife sorted for me. Now you can see my reflection there, so I'm just going to move it. But that was the Megadeth one. Now this came out in June 12th of 1985 on Megadeth's first studio release, Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good. It was probably a brave move actually at the time to cover that song. It was very different, and probably not a lot of other metal bands were doing it. Dave, always renowned for doing the more unusual. As I say, it's a fairly maligned one in fandom, but I must say that I don't mind it. I think the runs of the bass and guitar that they do a chromatic run at one stage in the song, it actually is a sort of a precursor to what happens in Take No Prisoners, and there's certainly that sort of jazz swing and influence to it. Unfortunately, the lyrics were very much a product of the time that Mustaine was in with his youth. Please see Jump in the Fire, original lyrics, wow, crazy. And also, obviously, the Mechanics, the most well known of it, which Metallica removed the horny gas station attendant and changed it up to the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. So Lee Hazelwood, who is the original writer for These Boots, he was not particularly a fan of those lyrics. In fact, he stated it was a perversion of the original, which I think if you listen to them, you can understand. There's lyrics in there such as, I just found me a brand new box spring mattress. Dave, yes, bringing in the homewares in there. And bitch, you've got a lot to learn. You're kissing when you ought to be a screwing. So real classy stuff there by a young Dave, just probably before he got into his full political snarling rant, which I think was a better way for him to vent his aggression than, as I say, the horny gas station attendant or the angry boyfriend who's purchased a new mattress. So Lee decided to tell Dave legally that he was not allowed to use those lyrics. Dave responded back by saying, well, you didn't have a problem with it when you were collecting the royalties for all that time. It had taken him over a decade to make his complaint. As such, we ended up with 4 versions of These Boots. The original that was on Killing Is My Business. We then had another version, which was on the remaster of Killing Is My Business. We had a version which had the censored lyrics, almost in a comedic fashion, when every time Dave said something that Lee hadn't liked, those crude lyrics were bleeped out. There was a version where Dave sung with the original Nancy Sinatra lyrics, and then there was a version from the movie Dudes, which was a Penelope Spheris movie. You may know her. She directed a few of the Megadeth videos, I believe, including In My Darkest Hour as one of them. And she was also involved in the decline of Western civilization. So that movie Dudes, which came out in 1987, on the soundtrack had these boots. It was a slightly different version, obviously, than the original one on Killing Is My Business. It was also the last song that both Gar Samuelson and Chris Poland played with Megadeth together. Obviously, Chris played later on The System Has Failed and a couple of other tracks here and there, but that was the last that those two played with Megadeth. So a fair bit of history, actually, really in these boots there for Megadeth, and obviously the legends that were Chris and Gar and what they brought to Killing Is My Business later, especially on the brilliant Peace Sells But Who's Buying. Talking about Peace Sells But Who's Buying, it probably has the best version of these boots on the 25-year anniversary version that they brought out. It's live from, I think, 1987, and it is excellent. It's got a lot of bop to it, and it's really one that I think probably does it better justice as a cover than the studio version. So that's just a bit of information there on these boots. As I say, it's a cover version that doesn't have a massive amount of fans outside of myself and a few other hardcorers. But I think it's liked more, though, than some of the others, probably Anarchy in the UK being an absolute bottom. Maybe it's time to do a video next time on some of the Megadeth covers. But I'd love to know your thoughts on these boots. Killing Is My Business, Gar, Chris. I'd like to know, what you guys would like to hear next. Would you like to do more on Megadeth covers or other bands' covers, or just other bands or other Megadeth songs or albums entirely? Let me know. Would love to hear what you've got to say. Appreciate your support here on YouTube and on Twitter. Please subscribe or follow on X Twitter. Like, share, and comment. And as I always say, have a ripper, mates. Thanks, everyone.